Here we are at Texcotzingo. Texcotzingo. This is one of the world's first botanical gardens. So has anyone ever been to Centennial Conservatory in Thunder Bay? So put up your hand. I see James's hand up if you've ever been to the conservatory in Thunder Bay. That's an example of like what this is. But this conservatory, this botanical gardens, is over 600 years old. It was built by the king of the Aztec people. And the reason this botanical garden was built or created was it was kind of like an encyclopedia, or maybe these days, like a Google database of all of the plants, the animals, plant medicine that existed in all of Mexico. So they grew the plant medicines and the plants here so they could study them and understand them. Anyone ever heard of the Aztecs, the Aztec people?
No.
No? So the Aztecs were different groups of indigenous people in Mexico that formed a civilization called the Aztec Empire. They were in supreme power about 700 years ago. And this place that I'm at, the place that I'm staying in Mexico, is called Texcoco, and that was one of their main sites or capitals. This is the bathtub of the queen. So water would come all the way from the top of the mountain and it would catch in all of these stone carvings and it would fill up these pools, and the water would both water the plants but also feed the bath, the water, for the king and the queen and the warriors to clean themselves. And here, this is very interesting. So this is a large stone.
I could only see.
And look at the carvings in this rock. One of the locals told me he thinks, he doesn't know, that this is like a map, a scaled out map of this whole area.
Mr. Tonight,
Yeah?
I see a sword right there.
A sword in this?
On that little, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it.
Could be that right there.
Oh, no, it is a sword. Look at that little map. Tells you it's going to show you where it's like a legendary sword there.
Maybe.
Oh, no, that map.
A map of hidden treasure. Those carvings in that rock, these people made over 600 years ago. They didn't have power tools. Pretty fine, smooth work to use with a hammer or a chisel. Look at that, look at that straight 90-degree angled cut. And it cuts all the way around here. That's pretty neat. That's a lot of sandpaper.
Aliens.
Aliens? Could be. So this is a big piece of rock. And then there's these stairs that are cut, you know, pretty smoothly with something.
Wait, whoa. That looks like eyeballs staring at you.
Uh-huh.
No, that's literally a human.
So these are pretty old carvings in this rock. This whole area was dedicated to the rain god Tlaloc, which means he who makes the plant spring up. My guess, because I haven't asked, nobody's really told me otherwise, that this may be the rain god. This is a ceremony ground. So in many cultures around the world, including here, the Aztecs did sacrifices, and they would do ceremony where they do dance, and it'd be pretty intense.
So they just sacrifice the kids?
They would sacrifice children, they would sacrifice prisoners.
Why children? Why?
I don't know. That's a good question. This is a practice in many cultures around the world that was done for a long time. And they believed it, sacrificing people to appease the gods, to make them happy. And you know when they would do these sacrifices? They would do it if there wasn't much rain. Maybe it was a dry season, and they do it during disease and pandemics. So when they'd have pandemics, because pandemics have been around for long time. There's always been pandemics. And so during pandemics, they would host these large ceremonies, and they'd dance, and they'd do sacrifices of people and animals. Good thing we're not living in those times, eh? Because, whoo!